servants of Allah. And if Allah makes you a reason to help raise a young sister, your little sister, and she becomes or reaches an age where she is suitable for marriage, you do not become a barrier. When a man with deen and mannerism comes and asks for her hand, and she accepts and agrees, you do not prevent that from taking place. For enough, one of the form of oppression toward the sisters is you become a preventer and a barrier. When the right person comes and asks for their hands, he has deen and he has mannerism, and he has no flaws that could give you a liable reason to prevent the marriage from taking place, as the Prophet ﷺ commanded. Or a form of oppression that you go after ruining your sister's relationship with her husband over the silliest reason, and you do not become a source to fix the problems, but rather become a source that ruin the relationship with billah, and go after forcing her to ask for divorce for the simplest or the silliest reason. Or if she's ever divorced and the waiting period is over, you become a barrier between her and returning back to her husband if he comes and asks for her hand. It was authenticated by Al-Bukhari rahimahullah. That was narrated by Al-Hasan. He said, in regard of the statement of Allah the Exalted, do not prevent them from marrying their former husbands. An ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنْ. He said it was narrated by Ma'qil ibn Yasar, may Allah be pleased with him. He said this ayah was revealed because of me. Indeed, I had a sister that was married to a Muslim man during the time of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She remained with him for a while, and he divorced her once and did not take her back until her waiting period finished. And after it finished, he came back asking for her hand. So I said to him, O ungrateful one, I honored you and married you, my sister, but you divorced her. By Allah, she would never be returned to you. And she wanted to return to her former husband. Upon this, Allah the Exalted revealed the ayah. And when you have divorced women, and they have fulfilled the term of their prescribed period, do not prevent them from marrying their former husbands if they mutually agree on a reasonable basis. When Ma'qil heard that ayah, he said, I hear and I obey my Lord. I hear and I obey my Lord. And he said, indeed, I will honor you and let you remarry my sister, and I will pay the expiation for breaking my vow. This ayah also has a very important ruling in it, which is the obligation of the wilayah, guardianship, the wali. It's one of the pillars of marriage. No woman can marry herself off. From the honor that Allah granted the women is that Allah appointed for her father, her brother, her son, her grandfather, her uncle, to be the source of that. If she accepts the man in marriage, he's the one indeed carrying on the conditions. But to marry herself, Allah Azza wa Jalla would not have revealed that ayah if that was allowed. Because Allah addresses here the guardians to not prevent them from returning back to their former husbands. So even if her former husband divorces her and their waiting period is over, he cannot just ask her back in marriage. He has to go back to her wali, as the case with the Sahabi during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And therefore, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, the woman does not give another woman away for marriage, and the woman does not give herself away in marriage, for only the adulterer gives herself away for marriage. Only a woman that commits zina gives herself away from marriage. And the Prophet ﷺ said, no marriage is valid except with the participation of a mature wali, guardian, and two trustworthy Muslim witnesses.